our router is having problems here at home. So now I'm on my phone and we're going to try this again. So if you started, we're just going to, I won't read it all over again. I think I'll just pick up where I left off. So thank you for bearing with me. Okay. Let's see, where was I? But all the good things that can come from prayer, trust, acceptance, connection, occasional miracles are there waiting for us. But first comes radical honesty. The more genuine our prayers, the more freedom there is to acknowledge the reality of all a life with God can be. In the meantime, tell God all of it, fiercely, even the unanswered prayers. Don't leave out a single one. Even if you sit among broken things and your confidence seems to shrink with each day, know that you may feel lonely, but you are not alone. You are united in love with all of suffering humanity and with our God who came to suffer and die, a God of sorrows and acquainted with grief, but one who also came that we might have life. And then her usual blessing, or their usual blessing, a blessing for when you're disappointed. Blessed are you, dear one, when you don't know if you can pray. Because even that very thought is the beginning of prayer, whether you know it or not. Blessed are you when you are disappointed, when you have prayed and hoped and wished, and still your cry for help goes unanswered. Blessed are you in the grip of the radical honesty that says, God, what are you doing? Why don't you answer? What is so hard about making something good happen when I have laid it all out before you in all its terrible reality? Blessed are you when you have lifted it all up to God and now must sit among the broken things and pray a one-word prayer of need. Help, save, come. Blessed are you still blessed are you still there before God amid the unanswered prayers. For you are not alone, no. There is one who has come to feel what you feel, to suffer what you have borne. And this Jesus comes right to the heart of your pain. That's the place he knows best and desires to transform with the blazing light of healing love. That's the only thing that makes the difference, that can drag you and me from that place of unrest. Blessed are you, sweet child, daring to ask, God, help me trust you, even if you never tell me why. Then settling yourself into the reality that God's hands are the safest place to be. And you pray again, into your hands, O Lord, I commend my spirit. Hide me in the shadow of your wings. And then she has a good enough step. When was the last time you let yourself be honest with God? Really radically honest. Not just in your disappointments, but in your hopes too. What do you hope for that you are afraid to say out loud out of fear of being disappointed? What about the unanswered prayers you've grown tired of asking for? Tell God everything. Nothing is off limits. Let the words hang in the air, even unanswered, full of all the frustration and desperation, anger and sorrow. Settle in. Take a deep breath. Trust that God hears, that God hasn't left your side. God can handle it all. I say that to you guys all the time. It's okay to have doubts. Doubts mean you're invested in and thinking and wondering. God can handle that. One beloved person from our congregation wrote, and I just wanted to read this to you. In my agnostic days, I saw prayer as a form of meditation. One where I can throw my thoughts and concerns against a brick wall and then create something positive from the pieces. As a believer, I have filled my prayers with hope. I've never thought of chastising God. Would a reverend lead a congregation in prayer with words like, God, what the hell are you doing in Ukraine? Actually, that has happened. And that's not a bad thing to do. It's okay to bring that to God. Actually, and then he says, actually, I believe in the power of prayer and will try being brutally honest in the future. But then if God is all knowing, do I need to go this far? Yes, you do, for yourself. That's what I would say. That's my response to that is, yeah, absolutely, because it'll help you. And then I guess I'm back at the interface between God's love and man's free will. And a lot of her book, on one level or another, talks about that, our free will, our choices, and what we choose, who we choose to trust, what the implications of our choices are. It is a very thought-provoking chapter. I thought of so many things as I looked at this chapter. I thought of my dad at the end of his days. He trusted, and when the doctor told him that, basically that it was the end, and various organs kept failing. If they'd bump one up and then another one would. And his trust in God, and even in the moments where things were really tough, like I came in at one moment and he didn't know where he was, but he was praying. He was praying and praising. And I was really struck by what a man of faith, not just that he's a man of faith. I mean, yeah, he was a good guy. He was a very human guy. But his trust in God, that unwavering trust in God, was just, boy, I have sat with a lot of people, and it's a privilege to sit as a person passes. It really is. Watching my own father, I wasn't there in the last moments, but in the time that I had with him, watching that was such a blessing. And it really taught me a lot about the trust he had in God, and not just trust, but that radical love and kinship that he had. That I remember one time when I was maybe teenager or even early 20s, and Dad and Mom were struggling with an issue, and Dad and I were talking about it, and I said, man, it must be so lonely. Who do you even talk to? Who do you talk to if you and Mom can't talk? And you can't talk to the people in the congregation. And that was one of my dad's rules. He really did not feel like that was an appropriate thing. I said, who do you talk to? And he looked at me and he was silent for a second. And then he said, well, I talk to God. And he did. He spent his whole life in conversation with God. So reading this for me was very much a reminder that you can say everything to God, including what the hell are you doing in Ukraine? Including where are you when I'm in pain and I'm afraid? All of those things are okay to say. Or I love the part at the end that she talked about the hopes, the hopes, the things that we've always wanted to do. I know I have a certain bugaboo around a dream that I have. I remember when I was a little girl thinking, if I actually do this thing, if I accomplish this thing that I want to do, which I still want to do, what if that was my life's purpose, and then my life will be over? I don't think that simply anymore. And I realize that that's just silly. But I think we do have those secret dreams that we don't always talk about, not even to God. And maybe we should, because maybe that will make them happen. And I don't believe that once our purpose, I think that there's more than one purpose that we have. And also that maybe God wants us here to just help redeem this world and heal this world. So with that in mind, regardless of the pain we feel, regardless of the doubts we feel, let's remember that this is all worth doing because we're trying, and God walks with us. And that is such an important thing, people, that God walks with us, even when we don't know, or whether or not that's actually what's happening, because we don't feel that presence. There are those arid times in prayer and in our relationship with God, where, there's this aridity. There isn't that sense of presence. That doesn't mean God isn't with us. I really believe that God walks with us even when we don't know it. Okay, I'll stop maundering on. I hope that this Lenten book is giving us all time to reflect. I know for me it is so thought-provoking and prayer-provoking and wonder and question-provoking. So in that way, it is a huge, huge blessing. So I'm going to have to try to figure out how to turn this thing off. because I haven't done this before. But here we go. I'm going to try to turn this thing off. Yep, there's my messy office. All right. And that my face is way too close. Sorry, that was probably alarming. All right, in this together with you, as always, and thinking about you, and what a privilege to walk with you. Reverend Stephanie signing off.